Hey guys, James here. We're back in Europa Universalis 5, but today we're doing something a little bit different than I usually do. Instead of a normal campaign episode, I want to show you guys 5 not so obvious tips in Europa Universalis 5 that I wish I'd known a little bit sooner, preferably before I started my Portugal campaign. So, tip number 1 is actually right here on the main menu. When I opened the game, I was a little surprised that the Paradox launcher didn't pop up, and it made me wonder, when mods get released, where are they going to be enabled at? So I did some searching and digging through all the menus here on the main menu, and the one button, and it is the button that actually shows where the mods are enabled, I didn't even notice it right away. Up in the right-hand corner here, there is a little button with a shield icon on it, and when you hover over it, it says Open Mods in DLC's menu. Can't talk, sorry about that. So, you open it up, and if you've played EU4 or CK3, Hearts of Iron, Stellaris, any of Paradox's grand strategy games, and maybe even some of their non-grand strategy games, you'll kind of recognize the what's going on here in this menu. You have playsets that you can choose: active, initial playset, default playset. You can make new ones, create names, enable DLCs and mods, and you have save and apply at the bottom here. Save, it lets you make a playset. So let's go test playset, and let's go ahead and enable all 3 mods that I have. And when you do this, you'll notice that you get this little icon here. You can turn this off and on, and it will automatically reorder the mods based on the mod dependencies, if they have dependencies of other mods. So that is very convenient. We're gonna hit save here. Some issues with the playset, and that is because one of the DLCs, apparently, it says it has an issue. I don't know what's going on with it. So it gives you this little red exclamation mark. And yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and do this. We hit save. And now, I figured that would show up here, but apparently not. Oh, you hit create play. My bad. So go to test, do this, hit save. And now I think when we hop back and forth here, yeah, there we go. So go with test, hit apply, and it's gonna restart the game. Very EU5 notoriously, I figured it would load really slow, and it is here now, of course, when I say something, but the game actually launches very quickly. This might be that DLC that has the issue causing this, but what it does, it restarts the game for you and takes you back to the main menu, which of course is taking forever now that I am recording a video of it. Oh, there we go. And so now, you'll notice, checksum has changed. You go here, your mods are enabled. And yeah, I really like this. It's nice and crisp. I'm going to have to figure out why that was loading so slow, but that will be for something not in this video. So yeah, you guys are looking for where you're finding mods. This is tip number 1. Looking to enable some mods. This little shield icon up here, that is the key to getting in and getting these mods enabled. So now, tip number 2 is one that I actually spent almost a whole episode of my Portugal campaign, which we are in, trying to figure out. So I was digging through every single building type here, just hovering over all of them, seeing what they all do. And what I was looking for was, I want to increase the trade capacity we have in our Lisboa market. So, trade capacity, put it simply, and if you guys are playing EU5, you probably understand it already. Trade capacity basically decides how many different trades you can do. So I was having to dig through these buildings, try and figure out which ones, and I mean, it's fairly obvious. Marketplace, I guess fishing village, market village, they give you a little bit, But what I discovered was if you hover over trade capacity here, down in the bottom right of the tooltip that pops up, you have build trade capacity. Now we're going to do this again. And what this does is it brings you to a market page. And apparently what you can do in here, there are different filters and stuff like this that will let you filter out certain amounts of buildings because there are tons of them. Gone over that. So back to this. If you right click here and go build trade capacity, it gives you options: marketplace, trade office, overseas trading post. These ones are built, I believe, yes, in foreign locations. So it gives you all these options. And now obviously things like market village, fishing village, those things aren't popping up. And what I'm thinking is, I think the trade capacity in those actually goes to like the commoners or the burgers or something like that. So this gives you the option here to go in. It pops you into special map mode where you can click on the map where they currently are built. Notice you have to have a rural settlement, or you has to be more than a rural settlement. I think a town is the next one. And it gives you the option here. It also gives you the option over here to build them. So that is a nice, easy way to build buildings that improve your trade capacity. So we have tip number 3 now. Tip number 3 is, I'm sure you can do it with armies. I don't have any armies. We can try it down here with this one. We'll split it in half. But tip number 3 is you can select a unit, and let's say we want to merge these two navies. Instead of getting them into the same zone, and then these are different than what it looked like in EU4, so I was sitting here trying to figure out which one is which. Merge the strongest unit, merge units. You can do this, or let's say we merge this one, or grab this one. We just right-click here. Let's slow this down real quick. You can see if we hover over this, military objective, join to unit. So just by right-clicking on this other navy, boom, they will join up. That is a very simple tip that I accidentally came across. I accidentally clicked a new ship that I had built and accidentally right-clicked on a navy that was in that zone, and it just disappeared. And my mind didn't put together that the number increased, so I was confused for a second. But yeah, that's a simple way to merge. You don't have to actually highlight them and then look around for the button or remember a hotkey or anything like that. So that's tip number 3, right-click to merge units. And tip number 4. Tip number 4 is in regard to taxes. So looking at our balance sheet here, we look down at our 4 different taxing types on the estates: nobility, clergy, burghers, commoners. Obviously, it's different with different countries. You have your tax, you have the scroll bar, whatever you want to call it, to actually increase the tax. And then you have the amount that you are taxing, and you have this number here. Now, just looking over this number, I didn't put 2 and 2 together right away, but this is actually the satisfaction of the nobility. So, we're going to use nobility for this example. So if we go up here to Portuguese nobility, hover over this, and then go over to satisfaction equilibrium, you will see here that taxes for nobility actually changes the equilibrium by, right now, negative 15.5%. So this is an easy way, without having to go and do the digging up here, it just makes it simpler, to look over here and say, okay, I want to keep the satisfaction above 50%. Because at 50%, when you go below 50%, the estates start to become unhappy and rebellion can occur. So you can do this and look here and say, okay, we're currently taxing at 15.5. I can go up to 21.35. Doing that would decrease the satisfaction probably down by whatever the difference is. So let's do this. There we go. So let's bump this back up. We'll go to 16 for now. So you can see how that changes it. sub tip here. So tip 4.5. When you automate the taxes here, I'm not going to actually do it because I just don't want to. No, you know what? We'll do it. So it does this. And if I were to unpause this, you will see that it maxed out the tax for the nobility. What this does is it changes the tax amount to keep this satisfaction above 50%, which is very useful. I'm honestly probably going to be doing this more just to try and get more money. And honestly, doing it manually isn't too bad. So that is tip number 4 for you. Pay attention to satisfaction for estates and use automation for nobility tax, clergy tax, burgher tax, commoner tax, all your estate taxes. You can use automation or do it manually to find your satisfaction of your estates. And tip number 5. This is our final tip here in this video. This one is in regards to your cabinet. Now, you can see what I have mine working on. My two guys are, one of them is working on converting Portuguese Cadiz, which, if I go to the proper map mode, you can see down here, I got these provinces in a war with Morocco. You can see we're converting down here, but the tip is you always want one of your cabinet members, unless there's something extremely important, to be increasing control in your provinces. Because control directly affects the amount of tax that you get from each individual location. So you can see here, Santarum is currently at 87.79% out of a possible maximum of 95.57. Now, what this does is if we go here and we look at tax base in Santarum, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I'm trying. So we've got tax base here, potential tax base of 3.96, loss due to control of 87.79, which it rounds up to 12.2. So you either get 100% or you lose whatever percentage of control. You get your percentage of control out of the taxes. So I don't know if there are other things that affect the potential tax base, but that's for another video maybe. So that is your tax base, and then it's further divided among the estates. And this is based on the share, which I think is based on the amount of power in, I don't know if it's actually power or just what they own. I'm not exactly 100% sure how that is based, but the tip is always be using your cabinet to improve the control of one province. Pay attention to when it gets to max, move it on to another province. You can dig in and really go for looking at, like, here we go. We can go tax base here. Colors on this are not great, so you might need to mess around with it a little bit, but you're going to have to pay attention. So 0.3, we've got 6.93. So you can go in here and you can like micromanage what province would be best for me to improve control in, when, and it improves the income that you are getting. So that is tip number 5. I think that's how we're going to end this video, guys. Let me know if you have any other tips in the comments below. Yeah, I'm still running this Portugal campaign. I'm about to go to I think 2 or maybe 3 videos of this a day. Doing really well. I'm really enjoying Europa Universalis 5. But yeah, let me know in the comments below if you have any other tips that you are using, that you've discovered, and that you think need to be out there. So hope to see you guys around. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.